there are other funds where you've bundled high risk with medium and lower risk in order to spread the risk.
Absolutely.
And we've talked about that for 2 years now. How do we get those funds? Because once you can reduce the risk for those investors where they know they're going to get other things on the upside, they will come in. And as you said, once you have a foundational group of investors, it seems to me there's tons of people who want to come in.
Absolutely.
So couldn't we be creating these joint funds among different actors at a larger scale where we're punching in all these high risk lab-based prototypes? They get some seed funding, maybe a few of them succeed, but we also have these more mainstream, less risky that give you your return.
I mean, I'll give you a very recent example.
Was that an intelligent comment that I just made?
No, it was spot on.
Sometimes I'm never sure.
No, I mean, I'll give you a very recent example, right? The Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the Netherlands has just released a 160 million euro financing facility. Now, this facility was won by the FMO, which is the Dutch Development Bank, the WWF and SNV, and a climate fund manager. So a consortium of 4 players. And what this facility does is provides first loss financing or risk capital to initiatives that help with water, energy, or the GHG reduction and things like that. This is a prime example of what can happen when different players come together with different agendas. For instance, the climate fund is going to focus on a water facility, FMO is going to focus on energy, but they've come together as a consortium to make use of this fund and diversify the funding to multiple players, right? If we can get to a stage in the textile industry where we can access such funds, not because we're a textile fund, but because we're a fund that's also in the same area, right? We've got water savings, we've got energy savings, we've got social issues. But because we're seen as a textile fund, we can often not access those,
I get your point, it's very well taken.
That finance.
And then once you frame it in terms of SDGs or
then it
other
makes it
public
easier.
benefits, you can maybe access development aid fund.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
I know that there's a
and
lot
also
of talk
partner
about this.
with such entities who, at the end of the day, are affecting the same SDGs, but just in different industries.
Right.
So I think that's what needs to happen, and it needs to happen very quickly.
Yes.
Because I think we're already a bit late, so it needs to happen.
So if you were to pick one thing, and you may have already said it, but if there's one thing you think, if I had a blank check or if I had a magic wand, just choose one thing that would really accelerate change, either the uptake of new technologies or the transformation that's needed, what would you choose?
I would probably speak as a manufacturer here and out of own selfish interest. I think if there's any technology guarantee instrument that enables to offset any risk, that would be key for us. So our new technology uptake would increase maybe several times.
So a technology guarantee, what do you mean by that?
Any fund or any support available, which in case a technology fails or does not do what it promises to do, can protect a manufacturer's interests.
Right.
That would see a lot of
so some sort of insurance underwriting.
Yes.
Right, that would be interesting.
Well, we've got a product for that. we already,
Ladies and gentlemen, the product. Yeah.
So we call it an impact loan, and basically what we do is we share the technology risk by charging a very low interest rate, extremely nominal, and then getting part of the resource savings. So for instance, if the
You share
baseline
the
was 100,
benefits.
exactly.
Wow.
And that is why if the technology fails, we take the hit because we basically get close to 0% interest.
Right, you get your investment back.
We get our principal back,
Your principal back.
but we make absolutely no money. And as you know, the same amount of money 5 years from now, we've actually lost money because of
Right.
the time value of money.
Sure.
Yeah.
But could brands do that? Some brands are so large that they have capital that they could, because we've always talked about how do you share, if you're going to demand something of a supplier, you should share in the benefits and share in the risks,
Yeah.
right? And you're doing this as an external fund, but could brands say, listen, we'll loan you some capital, we go on this together as a joint venture and we'll share the risk? Is that something you've ever considered with your?
Yeah, there's more and more interest to do that. We recently did one partnership with Gap where we both invested in a water treatment facility. So it's not a textile production technology, but it makes that facility entirely on renewable recycled water instead of fresh water. But I would say there's more and more need to do that, and even in some cases we have struggled to get product commitment. So we say that we'll go out there and invest in this, but can you just commit to offtake all the production that happens from there? So which will also be a
So you need
guarantee.
still them to commit longer term to buying this
offtake the
amount.
products.
Yes,
Yeah,
to offtake
exactly.
the products.
And that's still not part of the culture and business model today.
Yeah.
You didn't get to answer, I think, specifically. Is there one thing you wanted to?
One thing that I do exponentially, to be honest, I think it all comes down to consumption. So yes, financing is a problem. Yes, knowledge is a problem. But to be honest, consumption is a problem, and it's unsustainable. And fast fashion needs to end, whether it's through regulation, whether it's through awareness amongst consumers, whether it's just something as simple as telling teenage girls that buying a T-shirt from one of these, I don't want to take names, but fast fashion brands is not going to make you happy or more content. But for me, at least in the developed world, consumption is an issue, and we cannot just expect technology or financing to give us a free pass in this. We need to understand that we cannot consume the way we do. But that's a broader, maybe a more philosophical answer. So what needs to happen? Yes,
I mean, I was very happy with that answer. So
Yeah,
you,
okay.
you don't have to
Yeah.
go any further than that.
Right? Okay.
Right.
Great.
So
But
you're
consumption.
looking at the even more fundamental
Absolutely.
systemic problems.
Yeah.
If we don't find a way of steering
Yes.
our consumption so it's reduced,
Absolutely.
we can't just change how we consume.
No.
We need to reduce.
And to be honest, technology is never going to be enough. We've had this whole, utopian idea that technology is going to help us exponentially consume always or increase our consumption. And just because technology is just going to reap the resources more efficiently, that has never happened, and it's not going to happen in the next 30 years. So then the other side of the spectrum is let's reduce our consumption, or let's consume more efficiently or
Differently.
sustainably.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything you haven't said that you're burning to say? Something that you think is important to get out there in order to advance the discussion that we're talking about?
Definitely, there's one thing which we have not touched upon much is also consumer education on what they are buying and how it is made. Because if they know how it is made, they'll be more aware about asking these questions or demanding more sustainable product. So although we see there is enough demand from brands to manufacturers, but I don't particularly see there's a lot of demand from their customers to brands.
Right. And I would say that I agree with you in principle. I just think that the time it takes to educate the consumer is too long. That's my view. Like if we spent all our time there, we'll never get there. So I think you're right, and it will be interesting to see platforms like Good On You and things, if they can get traction and consumer awareness can lead to quicker changes.